Welcome to the Action Network podcast presented by DraftKings. I'm your host, Chris Raybon. This is our NFL Week 12 betting preview. We're going to talk sides, totals, props, money line, underdog parlays, and as always, we'll build our Sunday six-pack of Against the Spread bets with the help of my co-host, the Prime Minister of Degenerate Nation, Stuckey. Stuck, what's going on?
Going on, brother? We're in the can't believe we're already to week 12. Next week's going to be crazy. Thanksgiving week, especially for podcasts. I know for you and your fantasy, me for NFL and college. But we're in the storm, and I already can't wait for postseason football. But I'm not getting ahead of myself. I'm cherishing every one of these weeks. You got to remember, like when you get in the midst of the grind, you're like, "Oh, this is a lot." But then you think to like June and July when you're like dying for football. So it's on to week 12, and hopefully we can find some winners here. Was a little disappointed last week. We got Dortch, we both love
Oh,
Dortch.
yeah. Yeah.
He got in the end zone, and Warren got hurt,
Yep.
so he couldn't complete the parlay.
Kenny Gainwell had two. He went
Gainwell
more.
just took
Oh,
all his
man.
touchdowns and got all the looks because Warren came out with an ankle injury. So that was unfortunate, but it was decent NFL Sunday. It was entertaining, very entertaining day, which we
Yeah.
haven't had a lot of lately. Officials were really bad across the board from start to finish, but other than that, I thought it was an entertaining day. So looking forward to getting into week 12.
Yep, and you're up 38-27. Been trying to catch you all year, but you've been hot. So I got some work to do. 2 points for our first two, a point for our third, point for a total point. If you sweep all those for those new listeners out there, let's start it off with the first pick of the Week 12 Sunday six pack. I am going with the New Orleans Saints -1.5 against the Atlanta Falcons. Kind of pissed at myself that I missed the Saints as an underdog, but I still like them. I think this should be close to 3. I mean, this Falcon team, when you take Drake London off of this offense, it gets bad in a hurry. And then you got Kirk Cousins in for Michael Penix. And I know, last year, Cousins, first half of the year, he was solid, but he hasn't been able to move around at all. So I think that's a big downgrade for this offense. And then you have the Saints coming off a bye. And I think Tyler Shuck gives them a little bit more at quarterback, a little bit more upside at quarterback than
Throws it downfield, actually.
than Rattler. So I mean, advanced metrics, Shuck isn't great. Like he's actually, I think, a little worse than Rattler in EPA per play, but he's improved each of his three, main appearances. He came in relief a couple weeks ago, maybe like 3 weeks ago against Tampa Bay. And then first start, he was better against the Rams, threw for 7.3 yards an attempt, a touchdown, 62 completion percent, but just didn't get to throw a lot. And then last game against Carolina, he had a couple touchdowns, 282 yards, 10.4 an attempt. So overall, I mean, the EPA, because he's got some picks, got 2 picks, isn't great. But, you look at the non-turnover EPA, he's right around league average, 7.1 yards per attempt. So I think there is some upside here, and this Falcons defense has been trending down as well. I worry about their offensive line a little bit with Cousins there instead of Penix. Penix had his own flaws. He wasn't really thrown to the middle of the field, but now you take Drake London out, and this Falcons offense is probably just going to go in its shell and try to run the ball, 40 times if they can. But the Saints have been solid on defense. They're not the worst defense in the league. So
They're good against the run, on 7th in EPA, 11th in
yeah.
success rate against the run.
Yeah, so it's not as bad of a matchup as it kind of looked if Penix and London would have been healthy. Not that Penix was great this year, but yeah, I think this Saints defense is a little bit underrated. And we saw them play like that game against the Bucks. The Bucks did try to run all over them and succeeded a few weeks ago, but I generally like this Falcon team one-dimensional with the Saints allowing a 39.5% success rate, which is number 11 against the run. I think that this Falcons offense could be in trouble. I think this could be a game where the Falcons score, under 14 even. And I think the Saints can get to, 20 plus, 20, 23 in this matchup. So give me the Saints -1.5. I think this should be closer to a field goal.
Yeah, I played the Saints right early this week, +2.5, still play it now. Would play it literally anything under 3. Like, let's talk first. I mean, Cousins is done.
Yeah.
You
Can't
can just
move.
watch him. I mean, He's 42nd out of 44 quarterbacks in EPA plus completion percentage over expectation, only ahead of McCarthy and Gabriel. He's one of only four in the negative in that stat, along with Cam Ward, Gabriel, and McCarthy. And you mentioned Drake London. Well, we already saw the Falcons' offense with Cousins and no London. It
Hmm,
was a start at home against the Dolphins, and they lost 34-10. It was
embarrassing.
horrendous. I mean, here's the thing, with Drake London on the field, 5.63 yards per play. Without him, 4.43. And he hasn't been on the field. It's not like they were playing elite defenses, right? Like there were some of the Panthers game, the Dolphins. Almost a yard and a half difference. Here's a really important part. Run game with Drake London, 4.7 yards per carry. Without him, 3.5. It's much easier to defend this offense without London. You saw that with the Dolphins stack the box, take away Bijan. Because the rest of Mooney's been horrendous. Who are the other receivers out there?
David Sills, Cordero Hodge, and Casey Washington, who are all just like cardio king. Like they're all liable to just run like 30 routes and not get a target between them.
Yeah,
Or they put
so
Warner in there and it's the same thing.
yeah, so without Drake London, their EPA per play is essentially, and this is with or without Penix, is essentially equal to the Browns. Their EPA, the only team worse than the Falcons' offense without London is the Titans. That's it. So, and also, I think the bye will help Shuck and build timing with his receivers. He took over as starter. That can only help him. Fuaga might be back. Like the Saints are close to fully healthy, and Falcons still dealing with some injuries on the offensive line, potentially on defense. But this spot, like you have the Saints coming off of a bye, and then you have the Falcons who were lost in overtime overseas. Their defense is on the field, I don't know, 75, 80 plays. Last week they lose again in overtime. Their defense is on the field the entire game again.
Bryce Young threw for 448 yards.
Yeah, Bryce Young threw for 500 yards against them. But their defense has been on the field back-to-back overtime losses. So number one, their defense could be completely gassed. New Orleans should be able to run a little bit here because everyone can run on the Falcons right now. That'll help Shuck. But the Falcons defense has to be gassed. And then just from uh, an emotional standpoint, like you lost London, you lost Penix, you just lost two straight in overtime, and your season's pretty much over at 3-7. Like e crazy flat spot where the Falcons just might not get off the plane.
You
So
want to hear
yeah,
a funny stat? Drake London is responsible for 37% of the Falcons receiving yardage. He missed a game like that. How do you miss a game? Like that is absurd. Like they're just nothing without this guy on the.
yeah. I
It's
mean, he almost
great.
single-handedly beat the Patriots.
Oh yeah, 3 touchdowns. Yep. All right, where you
Um,
going?
but yeah, I would agree. That was going to be my first one if you didn't pick it. So I was
Nice.
mad when you went first this week, and it was mad when you got the Saints. So for my first pick and the second overall, the Week 12 Sunday six pack, I'm going with the Dallas Cowboys plus 3.5. Still some 3.5s out there against the Philadelphia Eagles. Well, look, first of all, this Eagles team, they are who they are at this point. Their offense, I don't think, is going to figure it out. I mean, out of the bye, 2 straight weeks, we've seen nothing. And for the whole season, they can't build margin on anyone. They have 8 wins. 7 of them have come by one possession. They're 7-1 in one possession games. I do think their defense is trending up. Get some guys back healthy. You add Phillips. Their defense is going to be a problem. Although Goff certainly helped them. Goff and weather with a glove is, essentially Kirk Cousins at this point. But I like the Eagles defense is trending up. I also think the Dallas defense is trending up. Now, I get it's the Raiders, but I think that they will be better against the run, right? Like with their trade deadline acquisitions. I mean, it makes sense. You add Williams in the middle of that defensive line. They're going to be better against the run. Now, the back end is still going to be leaky. This is still not going to be a great defense, but they're going to play a ton of zone, and that's what you want to do against Jalen Hurts and this lackluster Eagles passing attack. Hurts has been significantly worse against zone this year. And now Cam Jurgens banged up. You won't have Lane Johnson, which might prevent you from going with some of the jumbo packages that have unlocked some potential for this offense, and they've done some nice things with those looks. But Lane Johnson also is arguably the best right tackle in the NFL. The Cowboys can get pressure. I think they're going to be better against the run. They play zone on the back end. Now, the Eagles' defense is nasty, but this is the Cowboys' offense at home. I trust them to put up points. Uh, Look, I know that the Cowboys are on a short week, but this is the third game in 13 days for the Eagles after hard-fought wins against the Packers and Lions. Kind of washes that out. Cowboys had a bye before the Monday night game. It was a pretty easy win. Didn't have to exude much energy. So, yeah, I think the Cowboys can put up enough points here, keep this close. But probably what happens is the Eagles win by a field goal and run out the clock with like an 8-minute drive late. But yeah, I make this under 3, and uh, I'll take anything over 3, even if you have to minus 120 is fine. Uh, Dak versus the division for whatever reason. This is an ATM, 31 and 13 against the spread, 70.5% covering by 7 points per game. But I actually think this is a decent matchup for the Cowboys defense in its current form since they can stop the run much more effectively now. And I know the Eagles defense is nasty and only getting better, but I think with the weapons Dallas has and how well Dak is playing, I think they can put up enough points here. And it's just an Eagles offense that I I don't really trust to win by margin. So I'll take my chances with Dallas.
What real quick, what do you think about the under on this game? Because I'm kind of
Got
like I
crushed.
want. Oh, it got crushed. Yeah,
I mean, it
it's down
opened
like
50 and a
47,
half.
right?
It's down to
Yeah.
47 and a half, moved 3 points.
Still don't mind it that much, but it's risky indoors with the Cowboys. They are always so much better at home, but I feel like the Eagles might not hit an over for the rest of the year
I
the
mean, the
way they're
Eagles are a
playing.
dead not under team. Like,
Yeah. I might play that too. We'll see. I don't think I'm gonna go with it for the show, but probably will end up playing it either way because I don't yeah, I think the Eagles probably are just gonna do what they've been doing, try to run and against zone. It's not like they played a 24-20 game where they went both stopped scoring for like 20 minutes in
yeah,
week
somehow that game went
yeah.
under. That was insane.
Yeah. All right. For
Do you
my
agree that at all?
yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, I have this. Let's see. That would have been my second. So if you, I took New Orleans first. If you didn't take Dallas second, that would have been my second, and then this would have been my third.
Gotcha.
But this is going to be my second, and that is for my second pick, and the third of the Week 12 Sunday six pack. I'm going with the Arizona Cardinals +3. Shop around for the best number. It's been kind of fluctuating between 2.5 and 3, but I think it will stay at 3 because Marvin Harrison's been ruled out. But still like this against the Jags at home. I think it's a letdown spot for the Jags. You know, you called it with them last week, you know, facing the Chargers going across the country to Jacksonville. Now Jacksonville's going on the road, and they just have not been as good on the road. I have these teams I have Jacksonville about a point, half point to a point better on a neutral field. Now, the Cardinals do have some injuries, so call it a point. So I just can't get to, 3 for the Jags on the road here. Jacoby Brissett has been great. Yes, Harrison's ruled out, but we're seeing Brissett just elevate, whoever it needs to be. Like first it was McBride with the touchdowns, and now last week we saw Michael Wilson go off for a buck 85, have a career day. So I'm not as concerned about Harrison being out as I would have been maybe with Kyler Murray. Greg Dortch is also playing well. They're getting him involved, and this Jaguar team, they just kind of took advantage of this flat Chargers offense last week. But if you look at like EPA per play, the Jaguars are one of the worst passing offenses. Trevor Lawrence has not been great. Brissett has been a lot better. And then, the Jags are getting something going with Tootin. Now he's a little banged up. So I think this Jags team is just they're going to try to run the ball and they'll have some success. Like this Cardinal defense is trending down. So that if this bet loses, it's probably going to be on the Cardinals defense. But I just think my numbers have Brissett like about a point better than Kyler Murray now. And so I just can't get to this number on the road at +3 for the Cardinals. I mean, I'd make this about a pick 'em. Cardinals even a slight favorite depending on who plays. But yeah, give me the Cardinals +3 at home against the Jaguars.
Yeah, a lot of injury uncertainty on both sides. Like the Jags, are they going to get like last week they ended up being short-handed. They were much more short-handed than I thought. Like
Yeah.
Jordan Lewis didn't come back, Strange didn't come back, Harrison didn't play. Um, so I think Trayvon Walker got banged up too. And
Yep,
then
that's
on the
big.
Yeah, the Cardinals side, you have their corners. Are they going to get who are their cornerback room? Are they going to get back? They have some other injuries. They're Jonah Williams, their right tackle. So like, this could swing. Like if one team gets all their guys back and the other doesn't, um, that could matter. But there's a lot of injury uncertainty here. But yeah, from a numbers perspective, I would agree with you. I actually like the Cardinals as a teaser piece this week. Maybe
Don't mind it. Yeah.
tease them with the let's see, who am I thinking of
Steelers.
teasing them with?
Steelers.
Steelers. Yeah,
Yeah.
Steelers would be a great teaser piece. But yeah, I mean, like the Jags. The only my fear is that I mean, Brissett set an NFL record in completions last week without
Yeah,
Harrison.
and you got the better quarterback at home as a dog. Like that's really it's simple as that for me. Like this is
My fear is that the Jags will be able to run it because the Cardinals' run defense hasn't been great, and like they really want to take away explosive passes. That doesn't really matter against the Jags, but if the Jags handicap is like, are they able to run the ball? And if they are, then that offense is going to have success, which they might be able to do here. But from a pure numbers perspective, yeah, I mean, I think this is an overreaction.
All right, Stuck, we're going to get to your second pick in a moment. But before we do, just want to remind everybody that it is that time of year. We have the best deal on Action Pro as part of our Black Friday presale. It's live right now. You can sign up now for $40 off an annual subscription, which is our biggest sale of the year. Action Pro users get real-time alerts as soon as experts like Sean Kerner, Nick Giffen, Stuckey, myself track picks in the app. Without Action Pro, you need to wait 30 minutes to get alerts and risk not getting the best of the number. You will also get real-time money percentages to see where the smart money is flowing and access to our NFL player prop projections powered by Sean Kerner. The best deal of the year runs through Sunday. Just go to actionnetwork.com/pro to sign up now for $40 off an annual subscription. The rest of our Sunday six pack is coming up, but first I'll throw it to myself for a quick word from our sponsor. The Action Network podcast has teamed up with DraftKings Sportsbook, where new customers can bet $5 and get $200 back in bonus bets if your bet wins, plus 3 months of NBA League Pass. Stay in on the action and use your bonus bets on DraftKings same-game parlays for a shot at an even bigger payout. To get started, use promo code Action Network when signing up with DraftKings. Again, use code Action Network when signing up and bet $5 to get $200 back in bonus bets if your bet wins, plus 3 months of NBA League Pass. The crown is yours. All right, Stuck, where are we going with pick number 2?
All right, speaking of road fades, we are for my second pick in the fourth overall, the Week 12 Sunday six pack. I'm going with the Las Vegas Raiders -3.5 against the Cleveland Browns. Laying 3.5 with this Raiders team with a total. What is this total down to 35.5 indoors? Insane.
Yeah.
Might sound crazy, but this is number one, a pure fade of Shedeur Sanders. I don't think he's ready to be an NFL quarterback right now. And from everything I've heard from people close to the team, that is the case. From everything I've seen, everything I saw last week, that was the case. I mean, he had a negative 35% completion percentage over expectation. I think he was 0 of 8 against the blitz with 100% pressure rate. You just blitz him. He holds onto the ball too long. He's not even athletic enough to make up for it, and he can't read defenses. He can't read blitzes. The Browns also have injuries at tackle. We don't know if they might have to have the Leviston in there again. They might have two backup tackles. We'll see.
Yeah.
Both practices on limited capacity. Max Crosby might set an NFL record for sacks in a game. I just don't think Shedeur's ready at this moment. And additionally, the Browns defense isn't the same on the road. Talk about it every week. Are the Browns at home? Yes, you can bet them. Are they not? Yes, you can fade them. Over the past 3 seasons, Browns, most profitable home team in the NFL, 63.6% against the spread. On the road, the least profitable, 5-17 against the spread, 22.7%, failing to cover by almost a touchdown per game, the least profitable. The Browns, literally, that's their defense. Their defense is a juggernaut at home. But I can tell you, I'll tell you a quick story. So I had the Browns last week, plus 8.5. I'm up 6 in the fourth quarter, and I thought I was going to lose because I was like, Sanders is going to throw a pick six. And I mean, the Ravens could score 3 touchdowns in like a minute here. He threw a pick on one of the worst throws I've ever seen. Hamilton dropped another pick six on like a rollout that he threw right to him. He took multiple sacks. I mean, he took one back inside the 5 yard line. Like, I think it's just going to be a disaster. Geno Smith, this Raiders offensive line has been a disaster. I get it. Like, it's horrendous. That worries me against the Cleveland defensive line, but the Cleveland defense isn't the same on the road. I just have a quarterback who is a professional starting caliber quarterback, and the other team does not. That's all this is. I don't think like the market, because Gabriel's been arguably like one of the three worst quarterbacks in the NFL. So you're like, how much can the drop off be? Well, there's a reason that Gabriel was in there and they weren't even looking at Shador yet. Maybe one day he can be a good quarterback. He's just not ready right now. Uh, like there's going to be short fields, turnovers, lots of sacks, fumbles, and I think the Raiders are going to take full advantage and get it done at home.
All right, I got a Shador Sanders stat for you. It's pretty hilarious. Okay, last game against the Ravens, he had 18 dropbacks for 20 net passing yards. So 18 for 20, right? And then in his previous like appearance where he got some dropbacks, that was that last preseason game where we were out in Chicago, I believe. And in that game,
he got sacked like 5 times in a quarter.
11 dropbacks, negative 27 net yards. So over his last two appearances where he got work, he's had 31 dropbacks for negative 7 yards. I don't think anyone's been worse ever.
Was that the Rams game?
Yes.
The Rams had third. They didn't start. They started their entire fourth.
Jesser Wynn started at quarterback and played the entire game.
Yeah, they played their entire practice squad that game.
Yeah.
So I mean, here's the other thing. Njoku also is banged up. Well, the Raiders, Patrick Graham's a smart defensive coordinator. We both like him. You can just blitz, and Crosby's could just have a day on his own. But the Raiders also do a really they're decent against the run. Like that's what the Browns are going to try to do here. Raiders, I think, are 14th, 15th. They're like league average against the run.
For 15th in EPA and 22nd in success rate.
Yeah, but if you adjust that for schedule, they're I think 13th, 14th. Like I think overall, like DVOA, they're above average maybe defensively.
I want to say they were like 13th.
Their schedule's been brutal with the offenses that they faced. But regardless, while you're looking that up, the Raiders always do a good job of they're schematically they want to prevent explosive plays.
14th in DVOA overall, 15th against the pass, and 15th against the run. So they are, like a league average defense.
Yep. So they want to take away explosive plays, so how do you the Browns, in order to score, are going to need Shador to drive the field without turning it over and taking negative plays. I don't think that they'll be able to do that. And again, the Browns defense is the same on the road. Give me the Raiders laying 3.5. It's disgusting, I know, but it's Shador fade. He might prove me wrong and figure it all out in a week, but I'll pay to find out.
Yeah, I might actually be on you with this one. I was debating going with this over, if you hadn't taken this, I might have gone with this over my third. So it was kind of an interesting draft. I think we both drafted right because we each had the other picks, but for my third and the fifth overall pick of the Week 12 Sunday six-pack, I'm going with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers +7, +6.5. Don't matter for the contest. And this is just a big number here. I know the Rams have been amazing, but I trust the Bucs offense here to put up enough points to hang with them, to hang with the Rams. I mean, you look at this, even last week, I mean, they were up 32-31 against the Bills. Yeah, they gave up some plays late, unfortunately, and it ended up costing them. But overall, I don't think this Bucs defense is as bad as it showed last week against Josh Allen. Matthew Stafford can't do some of those things that Josh Allen can. They're playing a lot more, heavy personnel, so I don't think it'll be quite as explosive for the Rams. Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua, they might be able to hurt. I don't know. Devontae just looks weird out there. He looks like he's kind of almost resting up for the playoffs. And then Nacua is only playing 60-70% of snaps these days. It's been 3-4 week trend with him. So I think the Bucs can hang in there. You mentioned last week you think the Rams defense is a little overrated. I mean, the Seahawks turned it over 4 times Sam Darnold came into the game averaging, like 10 yards an attempt, just monstrous on the year. No touchdowns and 4 interceptions. And the Seahawks have a chance to win it at the end of the game with a field goal. I just don't think this Rams team against really good offenses is going to build margin. They'll still be in games. I have a Super Bowl ticket on them. I'm not knocking them, but 7 is a big number. I'd make this, kind of like 4, high 4s, maybe 5 at most. So +7. Give me the Bucks all day. You might get some guys back.
You might get Irving and Godwin back.
Yeah, but Tucker is giving him that gave him a second element in the run game. Even if,
and Baker was finally scrambling last week, which is
and that was key. 5 for 39 and a touchdown. Tucker is Tucky. It's Tucky Irving now. Like, it doesn't matter if it's Bucky or as long as it's not Rashad White getting the 20 carries. If he can get 5 or 6 and just get the passing downs, I think this Bucks offense is great because Baker's moving around again. Those receivers won't always have as bad a day as they had. Like Abuka's elite. Tez Johnson's progressed really well, and Shepard's solid in the slot, Otten's solid. So Bucks just solid offense. I think they're going to be able to hang here. I think they could pull off the upset, to be honest. But the Rams, they're not going to always pull away from teams unless you have a really bad defense. And this Bucks defense has been, last week notwithstanding, they're still number 7 in DVOA. They are 8th against the 8th against the pass, 7th against the run. And that's important. You stop the Rams run game, what they're doing with Kyron and Corum, and it's going to be a lot of passes to tight ends. Now, the one thing that worries me, and the reason this number is, it's probably as high as it is, Stafford has killed the blitz. The Bucks do love
blitz.
Love to blitz. You gotta
hope Bowles doesn't blitz as much this week.
Yeah, but Bowles has been, he's been good. He's just kind of stayed out of the way. The offense, he always hires good offensive coordinators, and so I don't think he's going to have a complete meltdown here. The Bucks have been in every game. Even like I said, last week up 32-31 on the Bills, had a possession late where they could have even, backdoor coverage. So I trust them to at least do that, especially with the Rams playing more of these, tight ends. Like, yes, it's been working for them and they, get to keep Stafford upright a little bit more, but in general, you're not going to have as many explosive plays with tight ends. It's not like you have Atwell and, those guys back when they hooks, he's just throwing it down the field and getting these long touchdowns. And now Adams, he catches 1 or 2 balls a game. So yeah, I think this Rams team been getting a little lucky. And last week they were really lucky to escape that game with a win, given, how they just it seemed like they were supposed to be blowing the Seahawks out. And you look up and it's just a 2-point game and the Seahawks are lining up for a field goal. So yeah, I think this Rams team is going to be in a lot of these kind of close games against quality offenses. Like the Bucks here, +7. Again, I make this, closer to 4.5, 5.
Yeah, one of the good things that the Bucks do is they don't match these heavy personnel formations with base defense, and that's been a key. There's a heavy personnel revolution going on. The Ravens started it a couple weeks ago, but with the Rams are doing, I don't know if McVay stumbled into it by accident with some of the wide receiver injuries, and then he was meaning to do it, but their use of 13 personnel, especially in the red zone, has been it's the cheat code. You have Adams out there, and then depending on what the secondary receiver deck, you could just throw to him or run it or throw it to the tight ends. They've been really good across the board, but they're using 13 personnel. I don't know, 40-45% of the time.
Last few weeks, ever since that Jacksonville game.
Yeah, and the Seahawks are using a lot of heavy personnel, one of the best offenses in the NFL this year. Now, the Seahawks, they did a really good job against the Rams offense overall, and they don't match. You have a lot of these teams that will match these heavy personnel with your base defense, but you really should be matching the down and distance, and whether it's a passing down or a running, right? So then these teams are throwing and taking advantage of these mismatches against heavier personnel defenses, right? The Seahawks run they match at the lowest rate in the league. Bucks are the 3rd least match. They're at 50%. So they do a good job in that aspect. I don't think they'll get completely roasted. A little in the weeds, but
no, I totally agree. I think it's silly how many teams still put linebackers on the field. If you got to have those safeties, if anything, if you're going to do you can't just put a linebacker on the field. And it's the Rams drafted Ferguson for this. They had Parkinson, who they gave a big contract to already. They had Higbee, and then they had Allen, who's a very solid number 3, and they still drafted Ferguson. And that gives them another guy to just run away from people. And most defenses haven't seemed to figure it out yet. So, but I think the Bucks, yeah, they're a well coached defense. So I trust that they'll be able to handle that personnel, and I trust they'll be able to score. Really, I think this Rams defense is running a little bit lucky this year. So give
Yeah,
me
I
Tampa.
like to like Tyke Smith's role on the field can help. He's very versatile. I like what I see. Dean might be out for the Bucks, but
Yeah.
Morrison I like. Um,
I mean, Dean is still big. I mean, it's you're going against Adams
yeah,
and Nakua, but the 1-3 personnel does kind of nuke them a bit because they, like I said, they haven't been on the field as much. So it's like I just it's the Rams kind of not that they don't remind me of the Eagles in the sense that like Stafford and they're quickened, but because Stafford doesn't really run and they a lot of like heavy personnel, they're one of those teams that I could see just not being able to build margin down the stretch. Like they'll win a lot of games and they'll be in that mix for that 1 seed, but yeah, I could see them winning some close ones. All right, where
all
are you
right.
going for
My
your third?
third pick and the sixth and final overall, the Week 12 Sunday six pack. I'm going with I'll go the Pittsburgh Steelers plus 2.5 at the Chicago Bears. Speaking of heavy formations, the Bears really struggle defending heavy set, and that's what you're going to get a lot of against the Steelers. They're giving up 6.2 yards per play against 12 personnel, and that's like what the Steelers' offense is. They can run it, they can throw to their tight ends, and these are just like the AFC and NFC version of each other. These are like the two voodoo teams this year. I mean, the Bears are 5-0 in one possession games. They won them all in the final minute against the Raiders, Commanders, Vikings, Bengals, Giants. I mean, none of those teams are going to the playoffs. Then they won all 5 of those games by one possession in the final minute. Their other wins came against the Saints and the Cowboys. They have a -6 scoring margin with a 7-3 record. Team's been pretty lucky. Why? Well, extreme turnover luck. They're plus 16 turnover margin. That's usually where the Steelers are. Next best is plus 10. League high 15 picks. They fumbled 9 times, only lost 2. They had one last week inside the 10-yard line. Recovered 7 of their opponents' 10 fumbles. So, like they've been really lucky in close games. Now you got to give credit to Ben Johnson. I think he's been incredible. The run game is cooking. Caleb Williams is making a lot of plays downfield, creating explosives, but it's still not an overly efficient passing attack. And the defense is really bad. Like it's just benefited from turnovers and from facing one of the easiest schedules in the NFL. So I also with the Steelers, you have the stronger kicking leg with their kicker outdoors. Maybe that matters in what should be a close game. But if there's one team that can cause all the turnover regression that's due for the Bears, it's the Steelers. And I don't think is Rodgers going to play? I don't know. If Rodgers is going to play, I think that this game should be basically a pick. It's funny, Rodgers going into Chicago where he never loses. But if it's Mason Rudolph, I think he's fine enough. Both teams have some defensive injuries worth monitoring, but I'd shop around, try to look for a 3, even if like an expensive 3. But this game should come like most Bears games, right down to the wire. And I don't mind the matchup for the Steelers on either end. Now their run defense has been bad, so Bears should be able to run the ball here, which is a little bit worrisome. But the Steelers should be able to move the ball too. This Bears defense is horrendous. I mean, last week JJ McCarthy had one of the worst starts I've ever seen from a quarterback through 3 weeks. I mean, through 3 quarters. He was missing wide open guys. I mean, he has no touch. It was stunning. They also got 2 picks. They recovered a fumble inside their own 5. They went off their running backs. And the Vikings still had the lead with a minute to go.
Absurd. Just
So,
absurd.
give me the
Absurd.
points.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of want to I'll have more on this game, but I might not. So we'll talk about it in the next segment either way though. But yeah, I think I think the Bears are just getting so lucky. I mean, they're not good. And I don't think Ben Johnson really trusts Caleb. Like they have committed to the run game. It's been working. They played a easy schedule for that. But overall, I just really don't think that he trusts Caleb. And this defense, Steelers have been trending up schematically, and they could make Caleb look really bad in this spot. So that's I was thinking about the under in this game. I might end up pivoting. But yeah, I don't think Ben trusts Caleb, and I don't either. And DJ Moore's trending down. Zacchaeus is trending down. Even Adunze's had some, up and down games. It's just the pass offense is very shaky. And so it's just going to come down to running. And I don't think Rudolph is going to factor in that much, even if he goes. So yeah, I don't mind this at all. Steelers, Tomlin is a dog too. Wins 60% of the time over his career. So can't
Yes,
knock this one at
Tomlin's a
all.
dog. Got to mention that.
Yep. All right. that is going to do it for our week 12 Sunday 6-pack. Let's get a recap going. So, Stuck, you got Dak Prescott, you got some Geno Smith, and Mason Rudolph for Aaron Rodgers. So, I mean, you actually, if Aaron Rodgers plays, you actually have a decent set of quarterbacks. I got
I mean, last week I
Baker.
had Gabriel turning into Sanders,
Oh, yeah.
uh, McCarthy,
Ooh.
and Trevor Lawrence. So it's better this week.
Trevor Lawrence. I mean, that Charger game. It's just terrible quarterback play on both sides. I don't know. I don't even
The
know how
Chargers
to
don't have an
get.
offensive line. They cannot
Yeah.
block anybody.
Ugh. But Herbert just has one of those games every 8 weeks or so. He
Whenever he
just
plays
has
the
one of those.
Jags.
Yeah, right, exactly. But yeah, and then I got Baker, I got Brissett, and I got Shuck. So that yeah, Shuck is our crown jewel of bad quarterbacks. I mean, maybe it's Geno at this point. Who
It
knows?
might be Geno.
Yeah, probably it's Geno. All right, that's our Week 12 Sunday 6-pack. If you want to tail some of these bets, look for the quick slip link in the podcast and video description, and be sure to sign up for Action Pro for instant notifications when all of our bets are tracked.